Hello, my friends, and welcome to Studio De Jeffrey. I am Jeff Cavanaugh, and I have found some NFL draft content that has made me generate my own NFL draft content, which means I was inspired to make a video for you. So settle in. I was actually looking at Todd McShay's tiers in the way that he was putting together the tiers of how he ranks the prospects in the NFL draft. And I decided, you know what? The way I have graded players, I can actually break it down that same way. And we can get everybody on the same page on what it is that Jeffrey wants the Cowboys to do. This presentation, of course, brought to you by our friends at Bet Online, your number one source for all your basketball betting this season and every other sport. But you got the NBA playoffs rolling up on us. Get analysis of every play, prop, point at Bet Online. They've got updated odds for everything. They are your headquarters for all sporting action, baby. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to sign up and receive that 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Be sure to use our promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V, to receive your bonus. That is promo code BELIEVE. Get a little scratch, get a little skin in the game at BetOnline. Promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V. It's betonline.ag where the game begins. Okay, so check this out. So I'm looking at Todd McShay's Dilly Whopper, his doohickey. And Todd McShay's Dilly Whopper doohickey, I can appreciate what he's doing, but I don't want to break it. Could I break mine into even smaller groups? Yes, if you put everyone in complete order, but I'm satisfied with the way I do things. So like he has tier 1 prospects this year, Bryce Young and Bijan Robinson, the end. Tier 2 is 7 guys: C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson, Jalen Carter, Tyree Wilson, Devin Witherspoon, Peter Skoronski, Christian Gonzalez, the end. Tier 3 has 12 prospects in it. Tier 4 has 24 prospects in it. I do think this is very, very useful, and the reason I think this is very, very useful is because I think it can help speak to people who struggle to grasp something that, I get it, why people don't grasp it, because we talk about first-round grades all the time. Like, I've got this many guys with first-round grades, and a lot of people say, why wouldn't you have 32 guys with first-round grades? There's going to be 32 guys picked in the first round. To which I say, good point. I don't know. The point is just to separate the players into tiers as best you can so you get a good feel for, I'm picking 26th. Do I have a guy left that I love, that I clearly love, way more than the next 12 guys we've got here that we like? Where are we drawing our line? So that's why you have first round grades, second round grades, third round grades. And in my case, I've become a cheater where I do tier it with first round grade, 1, 2, second round grade. And it's just for that purpose, to make sure that you're clear in how much you like different guys. So like, for instance, on Todd McShay's Dilly Whopper, what you would want picking at 26th is you would want to pick someone from the third tier of players, because 2 in tier 1, 7 in tier 2, that's 9, 12 guys in tier 3, that's 21. You pick 26th. So ideally, 5 or 6 guys that you don't have in those 21 get picked by somebody else, and one of them is left staring you in the face. You go, yes, it's one of the guys we really like. Easy first round pick. That way you're not reaching for need, you're picking your best player. If all of them are gone, then you would move on to your next tier. Okay, next tier for Todd McShay has 24 dudes in it. If I have now hit a tier of guy and I'm at 26 and the tier above it are all gone, and below it, it's like, who's your next best player? And you can say, well, I have that answer, but I don't like him all that much more than a guy that is literally 23 spots behind him. Well, then we have achieved captain trade down status. There's no reason to pull the trigger on a guy that you like marginally better than 20-something other guys. You would much rather get extra darts to throw at the board, get somebody that you think is close, and have a chance to add more players, right? Get it? Got it? Good? Woo! All right, so thanks, Todd McShay, for just simplifying words and showing me that I needed to be more clear on how grading works. So, you may not be able to see this because I don't have fancy graphics, but I will tell you what it says if your screen's not big enough, and you can yell at me in the comments. Just make sure you hit the like button first. Tier 1 in the draft, according to me. This is technically tier 1 and 2, because you'll see spaces between guys, which separates tier 1, tier 2. So I have my first round graded players. And then I have my guys who are graded as 1, 2 cheater grades, because I didn't put them as 1s. I didn't put them as 2s. I made it clear to myself that they're somewhere in between. So in a perfect world, if you're the Cowboys, you get on the clock and you've got a first-round graded player available. Who would those be for Jeffrey? Don't worry about quarterbacks. Anthony Richardson would be there too, but I wrote Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud. Will Levis we'll worry about later. Who cares? Wide receivers, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers. First-round grades. Offensive line, Peter Skoronski, Broderick Jones, Paris Johnson at Ohio State. That's 3 offensive tackles. First-round grade. Guys that rush the passer, Tyree Wilson, Texas Tech, Will Anderson, Nolan Smith at Georgia. Bang, 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 3 guys. Jalen Carter is my 1D tackle, and I got 3 corners with first-round grades. Christian Gonzalez, Devin Witherspoon, and Joey Porter Jr. Okay, so that is 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That would be my top tier because I'm not going to break it down even further than that, although I can put them in order for you if you like. And this is what keeps pointing me at, I kind of want the Cowboys to take a wide receiver. Because out of these players that are listed as the top tier for me of prospects in the draft, real-life first-round grades, which ones are likely to make it to the 26th overall pick? Any of those top 3 corners? I doubt it. If Joey Porter Jr. makes it, sweet, we run up the card because we're really happy. He's one of our 7, 10, 13. He's one of our 15 best players in the draft. Easy pick. We're at 26. Done. So if any of these names is available, I'm saying go make that pick, which leads me to thinking, I'm looking at my wide receivers. How many are going to be gone by 26? Maybe one does go at 12 or 13. Maybe 3 or 4 of them are gone by the time you get to 26, in which case we'll have to pull up my next graphic. But there's a chance that somebody in tier 1 for me is available when you pick. So I'm keeping my eyes on Jordan Addison, USC receiver, and Zay Flowers, Boston College receiver. Jackson Smith and Jigba at Ohio State is the one I'm the most confident is going to be picked by somebody else beforehand. But then what happens? Does Quentin Johnston go before one of these other 2 guys? How many wide receivers are off the board? Can we get somebody at, and by the way, wide receiver, a position that you can talk about how the Cowboys have 2, or even if you like Michael Gallup or whatever, this is the NFL. 3 guys play on most snaps, 4 or 5 guys play over the course of a game. And if I picked a wide receiver, he might be my 3rd or 4th wide receiver this year. Well, a year from now, Brandon Cook's contract is up. Michael Gallup, who knows? The guy I'm picking here is likely wide receiver number 2 a year from now and could be wide receiver number 3 this year. And maybe he's wide receiver number 4. Well, guess what? If you have a good wide receiver number 4, he's playing 40 to 60% of the snaps because none of these guys play 100% of the snaps. Anyway, so when I tear it down, I feel like wide receiver is the guy in this group that has the best chance to make it. If not, we go to tier 2. Here's where Bijan Robinson comes to life. Todd McShay puts him as one of his only 2 guys in tier 1. My problem with doing it that way is you're lying to yourself. We got rules around here. As my great friend Brian Broadus tells me, we do not window dress our board. So, while in the past, I would say first round grade on Todd Gurley, Ezekiel Elliott, Saquon Barkley, different running backs. If I'm honest with myself, would I put them as pick him as one of your first 10 or 15 players taken off the board in an NFL draft? I wouldn't put a running back there. So I'm not going to lie to myself. You could grade him on the scale of running backs and say, well, on a scale of 0 to 100, he's a 98. And then you go, ooh, that's super good. Great. Put the positional value in, put him where you'd pick him. So Bijan Robinson will exist with Quentin Johnston, the TCU wide receiver, with Darnell Wright, the Tennessee offensive tackle, who with the Cowboys I'm probably putting at left guard, Osiris Torrance, the Florida offensive guard, Kalijah Cansey, the Pitt undersized defensive tackle who is a hellraiser, and then 2 cornerbacks, Deontay Banks at Maryland and Emmanuel Forbes at Mississippi State. That is my tier 2. That now puts us up to 5, 8, 11, 12, 15, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Much like McShay, we're at the same point. That is 22 names that if all of them are gone, then let me show you something. If my tier 1 and my tier 2 are all gone when I get on the clock, there's no reason to just pick the next player because here comes tier 3, which for me would be the second round graded players. 3, 4, 6, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15. The guys in all caps I haven't watched yet. They're just notes that I have to watch them. DeJuan Jones, Michael Schmitz. So at least 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 6 is 21, and 5 is 27. It's 35 guys. So my guys from tier 1 and tier 2 are gone, and now I'm down here, and I've got 30 names where it's like, similar grades. Don't pick. Trade back and pick more than once. So I like it. I like the tier system. Ideally, if you're the Cowboys, your first pick comes out of the first graphic I showed you, one of your 22 favorite players. Your second pick comes out of the next 25 to 30 names you've got, because you're at 58, and my total is under 58, so you let other teams screw up, pick players. And then you are picking your best players available, and you are winning. Thank you, Todd McShay, for tiers. So now I'm actually just going to implement my own tier system here that I have shown you. I tweeted out a link to my board, by the way. So if you want to see how I have all the players ranked, it's a recent tweet of mine, at Time for Jeffrey. Now I want to compare. I'm going to go with Mel Kiper's mock draft. I'm going to give you who he picked for the Cowboys real quick. 26 overall, Michael Mayer, tight end, Notre Dame. I've talked about him a lot on the channel. Really nice player. I think he's going to be a really nice tight end in the league for 8 to 10 years. At least an average starter is what I see, and perhaps better. At 58, Jonathan Mingo, wide receiver, Ole Miss, who I do like. And that might be where you'd have to take him if you want him, because I've got him as a top of the third round graded guy. He's my wide receiver 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Somewhere between 9 and 11 in my wide receiver rankings. And if you got away from a draft like that, I would say to you, you know what? Not bad. I think you helped at 2 positions you could use help at. I want offense. This team needs playmakers. I think in a lot of ways what Mel Kiper just did with those 2 picks really fits with what the Cowboys need. But let me see what happens if I do this. And I might screw this up because I'm doing things on the fly and I don't have a producer. But I believe what I'm looking for is a window capture, because I want to pull up a mock draft. That is what I want. And of course, its size is going to be wrong, so I'm going to have to slide around so you can see me and it. All right. Now, we're going to use our tiers, and we're going to follow our own rules to see how we do here. With a 2-round mock draft of the Cowboys to put up against Mel Kiper's. Start the draft. Okay. Looking at the names available, and then looking at how I have the players ranked and tiered, Jordan Addison is a first-round grade for me. Emmanuel Forbes is a 1-2. Let's see. I have too many windows open. Emmanuel Forbes is a 1-2. So Jordan Addison is a first-round grade. And I don't see another first-round graded player, according to me, available. Let's just make sure on that. We got 1-2s. So I have literally 1 first-round graded player available out of my 15 that I've decided are in this draft, and I'm picking 26th. To not pick Jordan Addison would be a mistake, according to how I've ranked the players. Now, you can tell me I've ranked the players wrong. Believe me, many of you will, and that's fine. But I have to trust how they're ranked. No reason to trade down. I have a guy from Tier 1 available, and I picked at 26, and I got one of my 15 best. Woo woo. We get to the second round, and I'm going to have a bunch of guys from Tier 3 available is what's going to happen here. But let's see. Let me pull up the tier again. I think I can pull it up to where I can see it and you guys don't have to. Let me just pull it up to there. Yes, perfect. Osiris Torrance, Kalijah Cansey, Darnell Wright, Quentin Johnston, Bijan Robinson. Are any of those guys available? Ojulari, Mock. We're getting a lot of guys with second-round grades, but I'm seeing if I have any of my 1-2s available. I do not, and so now I'm going to be picking from a giant pool of guys that I have graded as second-rounders. Now, I could pick the one that's at the top of that if he is at a position of need and he is towards the top of how I have these guys graded, and you would be fine. I'm fine with that, and that might actually work here. I could do that with, because my highest rated players remaining would be B.J. Ojulari would be in the mix for that. Keanu Benton, maybe. Cody Mock would be in the mix for that. North Dakota left tackle that's going to play guard for me. Who else would be in the mix for best player available? I think that's going to be, for me, Clark Phillips III, little tiny corner. But then you look at your roster and you say, if it's close between a bunch of guys, I've already got multiple guys competing at the slot. Cedric Tillman, maybe. But in this case, I just get to pick one of my 2 or 3 best available players that also fits a need for me to come play left guard, and I take Cody Mock. And so it just worked out that I got a first-round graded player in the first, even though I picked at 26, and I got a second-round graded player in the second. So I didn't get any surplus value. If Addison was gone, I'd have traded down, and we'd have been looking at more names. But yes, Jordan Addison and Cody Mock. How about that? All right. How do I get rid of all this crap? Get out of here, all you crap. Oh, no, not you. You go up. There we go. That'll work. Bam. So anyway, I thought that was fun with tiers. I appreciate that McShay sent my brain down that path of explaining, like, yes, for me, I guess, round 1, tier 1. 1-2s, tier 2. Round 2, tier 3. Try to pick out of your proper tier. And if your pool of players that you like a similar amount is huge, that's where Captain Trade Down rides. And if you're getting really close to your pick, and let's say you have a tier 1 guy left, and tier 2 is already gone, and so there's a big gap between your best available player and the next group, which is really 2 groups down, that's when Captain Trade Up rides. Anyway, those are my draft thoughts for the day. Hope everybody's having a good one. I'm going to go do some stuff. This presentation, of course, was brought to you by my friends at BetOnline and by me. Reminding you to listen to 97.1 The Freak in DFW, especially from 7 to 11 a.m. when I'm on with Kevin Turner, Julie Dobbs, and Matt Cather. Come see me Sunday at the Brass Tap in Roanoke from 12 to 1, where we will do the Draft Daddies. Matt Cather and I will talk for an hour about the Cowboys draft. And that's that. Remember, you have no idea what anyone's going through, so be cool to everyone. I love you. Be easy.